Congratulations, by the way. I think a few days ago you won another award of the cool brand in the UK, one of the coolest brands.
We did.
I believe, again, we'll see, but it's one of the very few banks actually there, so congratulations.
Isn't that odd? I think there's something ironic about being called a cool brand, because my instinct is that the very minute somebody calls you cool, you're just not cool.
You're losing it straight away.
It's so uncool to be cool. You know, if you have to call it to yourself, it just doesn't exist. So I'm a little ambiguous about it.
You're still pleased with that award, right?
Well, I'm really ambiguous about it. You know,
okay.
There's something kind of uncool about being called cool. You just don't want that.
You've got other peers who would pay probably to get those,
well, they can
awards.
Pay if they want, but that's really no. I would, as I said, a bit of ambiguity about it. But hey,
okay.
I suppose we can laugh with that.
We could. Well, anyway, congratulations. I think it's cool, and you've got a great brand there. Yeah, we're talking about conversation. Social media is not technology related; it's more conversations, transparency, engagement. We talked about customers, giving them a voice, which is critical again to succeed as an organization, and more in the next few years. Let's talk about employees for a moment. Yeah, it's in your DNA actually. Those magical conversations come from, I guess, good recruitment, people in sync with your corporate culture and your openness, and so on and so forth. Yeah. How excited is your team actually to take part online on new channels like Twitter and Facebook?
I think the initial novelty is quite short-lived with anything like this. I mean, you know, so our employees are very, very engaged in taking part on our behalf, and frankly, just watching some of the conversations. So it's you know, they're both participant, but they're also consumers. It's not, you know, they play two roles in the context of First Direct. To me, it's about, you know, trying to provide them with an avenue, but also acknowledging that the fame or the tone of the brand is the tone that they create. It's, you know, it's the challenge online. The challenge generally digitally is how do you replicate the character that we created on the phone and try and make it a part of the experience online. And you know, partly that's about the people who have the conversations, but also it's about, I don't know, we use the word empowerment in First Direct quite a lot, and it's a bit of an overused word in business. Everyone wants to be empowering people. Fact is that at First Direct, you know, we do empower people. The person you speak to on the end of the telephone actually does make a heck of a lot of decisions on the phone, real time. I mean, they don't pass off to all sorts of people. To me, that's a dynamic that you see online as well. People expect an answer, and they expect an answer instantly. And what's more, they don't expect it to be perfect. What they don't want is, I'm going to wait 3 hours for you to get around to coming back to me on this. And how you engineer a bank, and I don't think we're anywhere near it, incidentally, but how the banking industry engineers itself so that it can really engage in a real-time two-way conversation, which is where the consumer is. The consumer got there years ago, but the banking industry is still quite concerned about that, about checking its facts are right, about approval levels, about, you know, this, that, and the other. And that's not going to last. That luxury of being able to hide behind a whole bunch of you know, sign-off protocols and checks and whatnot, it's anathema to us in terms of the conversations that our people have with customers. And we have work to do to try and collapse the conversations that they have with customers digitally, because it has to be much, much more real time. In fact, it has to be real time.
It's such a great conversation. So many topics I'd like to cover. We can't do everything. One key topic there, customer support. Again, you do a superb job, yeah? Social media is just one part of it, not the answer, but there's more and more people using channels like Twitter. Yeah. I've always said, it's been years, as First Direct, great brand, they should nail social media on the customer support front, yeah? You've got Bank of America, Wells, Citi, the ones in the US doing well. You've got some competitors in the UK, strangely being advanced compared to you. When are you going to start do customer support and translate your magic on channels like Twitter or Facebook for customer support and not just dialogue?
No, it's a great question, very fair one, and I don't have a very satisfactory answer for you because I don't know when we're going to start doing that. Thus far, we've started focusing on the products, on the services and the propositions, on the design aspects, and on the overall story of the brand. That's kind of been where we've invested in social media over the last, 3 years. How much we now take it into the customer experience and the customer servicing proposition is, I think, the next phase for First Direct. I think it's one of the next phases for our industry. Part of that, and a challenge to overcome, which I think is a fair challenge, at least to make sure that people understand, is the difference between having a verified conversation with a consumer as opposed to a public one. And what we find in support, and we see this all the time, in terms of the dialogue even today, that quite quickly a conversation can become personal, which is, I now want to talk about my money, or I want to talk about my account, or I want to talk about my problem. And that's where the conversation has to stop. It's now no longer the public domain, because we can't have a conversation about an individual in public. And so we've got work to do. We've got a lot of work to do to try and bring that to life. And I come back to what I said earlier, which is it has to be real time. There's not, the old era of you drop an email into and then we'll come back to you in 3 hours. You've got an SLA, which is frankly bizarre. That just doesn't fly. And it doesn't fly for us today. So it's, you've asked a good question. I don't have the answer, but I'll probably go back and find out.
I'm sure you will. No, again, you've got such a great brand and everything is there in the organization. So, because usually social, it's more of a change management type of approach or issue or challenge for big banks, yeah? So you've got a big differentiator here, which is you're really customer-centric and you really give a voice to your employees on a daily basis. So that's why I'm so keen to see customer support on those channels from First Direct, yeah.
Sorry.
But that's okay, you responded, I think, so that's fine. Thank you, Mark. Yeah. Again, I'm conscious of time. So, will you be more vocal online in the near future? Is there a need for that, do you think, as a senior exec again? A blog, a Twitter account? Can you do it? Would you do it? Yes, no?
I think you've got to have a sense of what is of valuable. So a customer has a relationship with First Direct. A customer does not have a relationship with me. Let's be absolutely candid about that. Yeah, So you've got to look into the mirror and ask yourself, what are you doing this for? Are you doing this for yourself because you want to develop your own profile? Are you doing this for your customers? Are you doing this for your brand? My job is to serve customers who have chosen First Direct, and the extent to which I'll engage in a direct conversation on behalf of the brand is driven by that objective. It isn't driven by, I should go out there and blog, or I should go out there and tweet, because I quite like to. First Direct does not give me, and this is important at least from where I sit, it's not my platform. It's not my communications platform to put my views to the world. It is a platform to put First Direct's views to the world, and First Direct is more than the chief executive. Yeah, and I really do feel that, and I really do mean that. So that's what the platform is.
Again, it's an interesting point, actually. I'm not, okay, let me clarify if it's okay with you. I'm not talking really personal brand, because you might say it's a personal branding exercise. I'm the CEO, so it's my face there. Do you think that people would, do you think you could drive increased market share? Should you be more accessible, approachable, and respond to customer queries?
I think it is.
Yourself.
Listen, I do think but again, I don't think it's immediately visible, nor do I think it has to be. I followed up personally earlier on today on 2 customer complaints that have come to my inbox. We've got a brilliant track record. In fact, fantastic track record as a brand of customer complaints and resolution. All I can do is reassure the people who watch this is that I read them and I answer them personally. So it's not like somebody's doing them for me. If they have my name on them, they get to me. Yeah. Now, that to me is more important, actually,
than seeing your face.
Than seeing my face. That to me is because I'm the latest CEO at First Direct. There's been people before me, and hopefully there'll be people after me. Consequently, you need to have confidence in the institution as much as you have confidence in the individual, and in fact probably more so, because for us, if you think about the number, there's relatively few people working at First Direct today who have worked for all 22 years of its existence. So one of the things you've got to be good in business at doing, if you want to have an enduring culture, is passing the baton or passing the torch from one person to the other. And it's not just about the CEO role, it's about every single role in every part of the bank. Passing the culture and the baton from one person to the other is something First Direct do pretty well. Because although we do have some people who have done all 22 years, they're a tiny handful. And for me at least, having confidence in the institution, having confidence in the positions in that institution is damn sight more important than knowing who I am. It's really not that important at all.
It's a good succession planning plan for all across the organization, not just the senior management.
Yeah,
Kind of.
good cultural immersion,
Mhm.
actually.
Good. No, I mean, it's all about people, we said
Yep.
it also, and that's where you excel.
Conversation is the heart and soul of First Direct. If you ask somebody what they're looking for in a bank, very few people are going to say, oh, conversation. What I really need to do with my bank manager or with a person, is I need to have a nice conversation. So the human nature is that's really I want. It's about value, it's about speed, it's about accuracy, it's about efficiency, etc., etc., etc. And it may well be about all of those things. But part of the joy of dealing with our people is that they have a natural style of communication with customers. And that comes from their genuine interest in what other people have to say. And I don't meet that many people who are interested to hear what somebody else has to say. And it's quite talent, and we look for it in the people we recruit.
Anything you'd like to add? Again, innovation, new initiatives, something you're super proud of? Or?
Listen, we're proud of the fact that we're learning, and a key aspect of our investment in if you like, new media, in the broader new media is, I like to quote a very old adage, and I don't know whose it was first, but you've got to kiss a lot of frogs to meet a prince is an old marketing adage, which keeps coming back to me. When we embarked on things like the Little Black Book or the social media newsroom or the lab, we don't know whether they're going to work. We don't bet the shop on them. We're not an IT company, so it's not, we're not an Apple trying to redefine our business or a Microsoft but we are willing to experiment and to learn, and we're willing to fail, and we're willing to change our mind midstream, and we're willing to discover. For me, the key to the new age is having a sense of discovery at the heart of your business, and not believing that you know the answer better than somebody outside your business. What is most intriguing is if you can create a vehicle to connect customers and brands more closely. It's a numbers game. The numbers tell you there's an awful lot more people out there than are in here. Like as not, they're going to have some pretty good ideas that you're never going to find. And the question is, how far can you take that? And is the banking industry up for that, which I think it is and should be, but how quickly can you actually get there? We want to get there as fast as we can, but along the way we have an obligation of we have the normal obligations to our customers. So we've got to kind of protect that at the same time.
Thank you. No, it's an important point. Live and learn. Social media, you need to experiment, discover.
So we do.
And I personally believe you're not judged. It's not like because you fail or there's a big issue, you're not judged on that at the end of the day. You're judged on your ability to deal with it. Yeah, a bit like on Twitter with the hacked account. That's great, actually. You dealt with it. You dealt with it super well, and this is it. Actually, makes you stronger in the social space. So, but thanks a lot for your time, Mark.
It's a pleasure.
Wish you the best.
Thank you.
As a new chief exec and on the social media space, yeah. Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you.